Morning, everyone.
Good morning, Rabbi.
We're learning Mishna Yevamos, Parak Gimel, chapter 13, and we are up to Mishna Yud Beis, Mishna 12. Okay. Now, Yavim Katan Shaba Yavama Katana. A Yavam, the surviving brother of a person who died without children, who is a minor. And he cohabited with his Yevama, with his brother's wife, who herself was a minor. Now the case is like this. The case here is that this minor, the minor girl that we're talking about here, we're not talking about the rabbinic marriage we've been discussing until now. We're talking about a situation where a father married off his minor daughter, which the Torah gives him the power to do. And she's married to a man who's an adult. It is a full-fledged, 100% Torah marriage. And the man dies without children. Now she falls to Yibam. The Yavim, the surviving brother of the man who died, is a katan. He's a minor. And he went ahead and he did the act of Yibam on her. He did Yibam on her. Now, the Yibam that he did on her, we're talking about here where he is of the age, already he's 9 years old. We've had a previous Mishna teaches us that the act of cohabitation of a 9-year-old is considered an act. It's considered an act, a full-fledged act, with all the ramifications of such an act. In the case of Yibam, that would mean that he is a minor, and although typically a minor can't get married, but when we're dealing with Yibam, which is kind of automatically, which happens automatically with the act of cohabitation, and his act is an act, that means he performed Yibam on her. She became his wife through Yibam. She was married to his brother 100% according to Torah law. She felt Yibam to him, and even though he's a minor, we're talking about of the age where his act of cohabitation is considered a full-fledged act, and therefore she became married to him through Yibam. So what does it say? Yigdelu zeh im zeh. Literally translated means they should grow up with each other. What that means is like this. What that means is that if, let's say, they want to end the marriage, he did the Yibam, he did the mitzvah, but they want to end the marriage. They're not interested in staying married together. So what do? She needs a get. But we're talking about a katana. She's a minor. Can't divorce a minor. So therefore, in this case, we say like this. Actually, I should say it the other way around. Because he's a katan, because he's a minor, he cannot perform Yibam. He can't give her a get because he's a minor. And she has to be old enough to be able to keep the get, to protect it. She has to be mature enough to know to be able to take care of that get. Okay, but at the end of the day, we have in the very least the fact that he can't give a get because of the fact that he is a minor. Actually, she could be divorced if her father would receive the get. But the point is, in the very least, he cannot give the get because he is a minor. So therefore, they grow up with each other means they grow up until he becomes an adult, and he gives her a get. The point is that after this act happens with this kind of a minor and a minor girl, the halacha is that the Yibam is full-fledged, and there's no way to end the marriage until they actually become adults, so that he's going to be able to give her a get. Now, ba al Yavama Gedola. Let's say the case is where the 9-year-old performed Yibam, he cohabited with a Yavama who was an adult. And again, she was married 100% to the husband. She's a Gedola. Why not? She was married to his brother, according to Torah law. She fell to him for Yibam. He did an act of cohabitation. And what happens then? And now after the Yibam is done, they want to break up. What happens then? Tigad lenu. Literally translates, she raises him. Doesn't mean she has to raise him, but it means she has to wait till he becomes an adult in order for him to give her a get. Okay? Now, next. Hayavama, this is a whole brand new case. Hayavama sha'amra b'sayich shleishim yayim lo nivalti. A Yavama, that means a woman who fell to Yibam. Her husband died without children. She fell to his brother. And she claims within 30 days of the husband's death that lo nivalti, I have not been cohabited with. Meaning she claims that the Yavim has not done Yibum. He hasn't done anything. It is within 30 days of the husband's death. And at the end of the day, she's claiming that Lady Valti, she's claiming that I didn't give her, she's claiming that he didn't do Yibum to me. Now, the rest of the story isn't mentioned in the Mishnah. But the Bartanura explains the rest of the story is that he says that, let me make sure I'm getting this right. Okay, he claims that he did cohabit with her, and that he gave, and that the get had already been given to her. Meaning, he claims he cohabited, he did yibum, and he gave her a get.
But she says no.
She says no. She says it didn't happen. Okay, now the Mishnah says in that case, we force him to give her a chalitza. That means, at the end of the day, she's saying, I did it. And she's saying, no. Now, as long as she says no, that no yibum was done to me, and no get was given to me, right? Or no yibum was done to me, she, according to her words, she can't marry anybody. Because she's saying, I still have Zika. I still have a yibum bond. Right? He says, well, you're free to go. There's no problem. No problem. So how about giving her a chalitza? So give her a chalitza. Give her a chalitza. What's the big deal? No, he doesn't want to. It's embarrassing. He goes to Bezdin. She spits in front of him. Doesn't want to go through it. So in this case, where it's within the first 30 days, we force him to give her chalitza. Because within the first 30 days, it is feasible. It's reasonable. It makes sense. His claim that he didn't do it is reasonable. Within the first 30 days, to say that he's held off, even though they're living together, because they're supposed to be living together, that he hasn't done anything for the first 30 days, that's a possibility. And therefore, her claim that he didn't do anything has some teeth to it, has some strength to it, and therefore, we make him give her a chalitza. Because at the end of the day, she's stuck. Because he says that she's free to go. I did everything, but she's saying not. And her claim at this point in time has some validity to it, and therefore we force him to give her a chalitza. So she should be able to marry somebody else. Because at the end of the day, they don't want to be married to each other. Let's say she makes this claim after 30 days. Then we ask him to do a chalitza. At that point of time, for her to say that after 30 days he didn't do anything, very highly improbable. Highly improbable. Her claim is very weak. His claim is much better. And therefore, we can't force him to give her chalitza. But we clearly ask him to give her chalitza. And that's because of the fact that, as we said, according to her claim, according to what she's saying, she can't remarry anybody. She can't go marry anybody else. She's still bound for yibum to him. And therefore, we ask him to give her chalitza. We can't force him to give her chalitza, but we ask him to give her chalitza. Now, I want to read something to you here from the bottom that is interesting to note. And this is really on the part that this is relevant to this case. There is no question of his staying married to her, since he has given her a get, and a get rabbinically prohibits a yevama. Meaning he already went ahead. My understanding of this is, we're talking about here, as the Bartanura says, just give me 1 second. Okay. Basically, we're talking about he gave her a get, as we said. He claims I gave her a get. And she shows the get. She's got it. She chose the get. But she's still claiming that she took a get even though he didn't do Yibam on her. Now, based on her claim, she's saying that, okay, he never did Yibam on me, and he says, I did Yibam on her. All right, so how about staying married? Why is the discussion only Chalitza? Is the discussion only Chalitza because of the fact that, she doesn't want it, she doesn't want this? She doesn't say she doesn't want it. She just says he didn't do Yibam on me. She doesn't say she wouldn't agree to Yibam, which is not really her choice. She's saying he didn't do Yibam on me. All right, so if the problem is that he says, I did, and we say to him, no, you're sure her claim has some teeth here, because it's within 30 days. All right, so you know what? Do Yibam on her. Do Yibam. Why is there not even a discussion of doing Yibam on her? And the answer is that since we said he claims that he gave her a get. So again, based even on her words, that she is saying that he didn't do Yibam on me, and I'm still bound to him for Yibam. And her claim is, look, he didn't do Yibam on me. If he's not going to do Yibam, let him free me. And we say, according to her claim, she can't marry somebody else because she's saying she's still bound to Yibam for him. All right, so go ahead and do Yibam. We're only the discussion of the Mishnah is only do Chalitza. Why not do Yibam? The answer is because, as we learned previously, if a Yavim gives a get to his Yevama, meaning even if he didn't do Yibam yet, he knew Chalitza, and he gave her a get, gave her a bill of divorce. So according to Torah law, it's nothing. But with Rabbanan, it actually doesn't allow him to do Yibam on her anymore. The only thing left to do is Chalitza. So again, if she received the get, and she claims that she didn't have Yibam done, that means she's claiming she received the get while she was still waiting for Yibam. According to that claim, she and him can't be married. And therefore, the only thing left here to discuss is doing Chalitza. Because at the end of the day, even if she received a get from him without any cohabitation happening, she can't marry him. So at the end of the day, she's stuck. She's stuck. He claims we're done. I did everything. She claims no. According to her claim, she can't remarry someone. She can't be married to him. So she's stuck. So where her claim has some strength to it because it's within 30 days, we force him to give Chalitza. If it's after 30 days that it really not really a very valid claim, then we ask him to give her Chalitza. Then the Mishnah concludes, let's say he admits. She says, he hasn't done Yibam to me. He hasn't cohabited with me. And he says, you're right. I haven't done it. And this is even, then we say, even after 12 months, then we force him to give her a Chalitza. If at the end of the day, he actually admits that he has not cohabited with her, and that actually she needs Chalitza to marry somebody else, then in that situation, we say, meaning again, the case would seemingly be the same case. He gave her a get. So he can't be married to her. But at the end of the day, he is admitting that he hasn't cohabited with her. Even though before, when he claims that he did, if it's after 30 days, we'd believe it. But now that he admits, even after a year, that he hasn't done anything, if he admits, then already that means that he hasn't, that he now, and he gave her a get also, then already now, that's a situation where we force him to give her a get. There, he's admitting she's to her claim. He hasn't done any Yibam on her, hasn't done anything to her. If he hasn't done anything to her, then already, if he's gonna, we force him to give her Chalitza in order to free her to be able to marry someone. Okay, let's come into Chofetz Chaim. Now, Izehu Rachel. What constitutes a Rachel? Which we already said before, but this is where the Chofetz Chaim defines it. This is where he goes ahead and he basically carries words from one to the other. And he says, this is what so-and-so said about you. This is what so-and-so did to you. Meaning he takes what happened somewhere else and he brings it over. Like a peddler. I heard he has done this to you or he wants to do this to you. Even if we say that matter that is being said about him, he would not consider it derogatory. And if we'd ask him, is it true? He wouldn't deny it. Either because he feels because he's right, or he meant something else and not necessarily to hurt this person. Nonetheless, he is called a rachel. He is called the person who is basically, peddling what someone is saying it wants to do to you, because at the end of the day, if what he's telling you that so-and-so did to you is something you don't like, it doesn't make a difference if the person who he's talking about wouldn't deny it, would feel he's right for doing it, had whatever other intentions other than hurting him for doing it. At the end of the day, if you would hear this and you would take what he said or did to you as derogatory, if somebody tells him about that, that's called rechilus, and that's forbidden to do. It doesn't make a difference about who you're speaking about, what he feels about it. What matters is about what the person who is being told that someone did to him or spoke to him matters. If he considers it negative, then you can't say it over to him. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Doesn't sound plausible